Coming up, culinary nutritionist Shaunna Leinster shares her healthy recipes to start off the new year, and a criminal's life is transformed in an instant.
Welcome to the 700 Club Canada, and Happy New Year! Happy New Year!
I can't believe it's 2023.
I know.
What happened, Bill?
I was looking at something just the other day, and it said 2015. I was thinking, that's a long time ago, but it just seemed like yesterday. But here we are. I hope you had an amazing Christmas break. And as you begin a new year, our hope for you is that you would put God at the center of everything, because we just know that is the best way to live.
It truly is. You know, it's so easy in our culture to get distracted at every turn. Literally, all you have to do is look at your phone. You're like ADD, if you have it at all. Boom, there you go, right? And it's just, we lose sight of what's important. And I just reminding myself and my family, you know, let's get our priorities straight, because that's a way to have a sort of a fresh start. Like, make sure you know what you actually value.
Absolutely.
If you know what you value, then you'll make your decisions around that.
Well, and I think for us as a culture, all the things that we've put our trust in, our hope in, our joy in, they're all crumbling.
So true.
And really, it's exposing, when all that crumbles, what is left. But here's the great news. If you put God first, He is a foundation that is solid, that in the storms of life, you can hold up. And so our hope for you is that you'd experience His fullness this new year and lean into the opportunities He's going to bring your way.
Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. We'll talk more about that as the show goes on here. But, you know, God calls us to do actually hard things, and they're usually the things that actually bring out the most meaning and purpose in our life.
Oh, absolutely. Because you think about it, everything meaningful in your life came at some cost, right?
Yeah.
There was a price to be paid.
Yeah.
And so, of course, Christ demonstrates this in His death and resurrection, that you can have a new start, no matter what the past was, that you can die to that and experience something new this year. And so we hope that is true for you today.
Yeah. Up first, Anthony shares how he got a fresh start after living a life of drugs and crime.
It was just like, God, I don't want to die like this. Like, I don't want to go out like this as a dope fiend in the street.
During his teen years, Anthony Vasquez went to church and loved what he was taught about God. But when his grandmother died of cancer and his cousin committed suicide a short time after, Anthony felt betrayed.
I felt like when I needed God most, he kind of let me down. Like, literally flipped off the sky and was like, I don't need you. Like, I don't need what you got. Like, obviously, you don't care about me. You don't want nothing to do with me, so I don't want nothing to do with you.
Anthony found escape and a new identity in drugs and gangster rap.
Then I started getting high, and when I started smoking then, like, all of a sudden, like, I felt free. I felt like all these issues and problems in my life were gone. I loved the gangster gang drug life. It was fun. You know, people hadn't got killed yet. People hadn't gone to prison yet. People hadn't, you know, overdosed yet.
He married at 19 and started a family. Still, the excitement of the streets always called him back.
I didn't feel seen my whole life, and so I wanted to be feared. And by the life that I lived, it made me both. I still got to play house, then I also would get to go play gangster. It's cool to be a gangster. It was cool to, you know, be a womanizer. It was cool to be on drugs, you know, and then to go from hanging around this really crazy environment of people and then going back and sitting with a wife and kids, you know, at a table, it just seems so small to me.
Over the years, he was in and out of jail several times, and his wife filed for divorce. While Anthony was in rehab, his brother became a Christian and invited him to church.
I liked the people that were there. They seemed pretty genuine. Being real with God, I didn't even know what that meant. So I didn't really know how to get there. But I hadn't really experienced God. I just experienced church.
Despite the good he was experiencing at church, Anthony still kept his foot in the gangster world. One night, a robbery during a drug deal nearly cost him his life.
So we get on the ground, and I'm like telling dude, like, look, man, we don't have anything. Like, take my cell phone, take whatever you want. Like, he goes through our pockets, And then all of a sudden we just hear boom, boom. And I mean, like the impact of the shell firing like echoed in the little area we were in, and a bullet hit the concrete next to my head. And then I felt like, it felt like someone hit me with a sledgehammer in my shoulder. Like I flashed to the police coming to my kids' mom, telling them that I'm dead. My kids hearing that I'm dead. My mom hearing that I'm dead. Like, and I could visually see it all. And I was just like, God, I don't want to die like this. Like, I don't want to go out like this as a dope fiend in the street.
Anthony had been shot in the shoulder at close range. Though he was glad to be alive, he began to experience the emotional weight of his decisions and the double life he'd been leading.
I literally felt like my soul and my life were at stake. And I felt this pressure and this fear and this like condemnation and conviction and just like this weight. And I'm fearful for my soul and my life, but I have no idea what to do. And I fall on my knees and I just start crying and I'm like, God, I don't know how to change. Either you help me or I'm done. All of a sudden, like all this fear, all this darkness just went away. And I got up and I felt different inside. Like I had clarity of mind. And so I called my brother. I'm like, Chris, I think I just met this Jesus dude, man. Like, I need you to come tell me about him because I think I just met him.
Anthony was radically changed as he put his faith and his future in God's hands.
One thing that God has been for me is faithful. The peace that I have in knowing that I'm his, I look forward to heaven. I want to see my King.
He now works with youth at his church and is a Christian rap music producer. The years of longing for hope and purpose were finally satisfied in a relationship with Jesus.
I found my worth in opening up the Bible and seeing scripture that I've read 1,000 times become brand new all over again. I find worth in hearing a worship song that makes me feel like I'm touching heaven. I feel worth in praying to God and knowing that he hears my prayers and that he may not answer them when I want, but he answers them when I need. And sometimes it's no, and sometimes it's yes. But like Paul said, I'm content in all things, whether we're base or abound. And in my season in life right now, what I'm learning is to be content.
Do you find yourself in a place you really don't want to be? Like maybe, like Anthony, you feel like you're living a double life. There's a gap between the persona you project and who you really are. And maybe you don't like who you're becoming. Maybe you don't like the circumstance you've been handed or the one you've created. So what do you do then? In Luke 15, Jesus told a story. It was a story of a son who chose a path, a self-centered path, and it leads to destruction. It leads to a pig pen, which to the Jewish context was literally the worst case scenario. And in this situation, it says he came to his senses. He basically decided to return home. And as he's going home, he's expecting to be given a reprimand, a position as a slave, but instead the father greets him as a son. Listen to how Jesus ends this story in Luke 15, verse 24. It says, his father said, "For you are my son. This son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found," and they began to celebrate. Anthony, just like the prodigal son, found himself in a place he didn't want to be, and maybe you do as well. And in order to change that, he needed to give up the life he was pursuing in order to experience the life he was created for. Now, how about you? Are you there too? Are you ready to come home? As we begin a new year, listen, there is no greater thing that you can do than admit that you need God in your life, to come to your senses, come back to the God who created you, your heavenly Father, and say, I need your help. I need a new beginning. I need a new start. And the great news is you will be greeted with celebration. You will be received and forgiven and given the name son or daughter. That is what this new year could hold for you. And so if you need a new beginning, a new start, maybe you need to come back to God today, why don't you give us a call at 1-855-759-0700. We have this great resource entitled A Certain Salvation. God is for you. Well, after the break, the powerful story of a young girl who got a second chance after years of neglect.
What is an estate plan, and do I need it? An estate plan ensures your stuff will be distributed in the best, most tax-efficient way. We plan so many other things. Why don't we plan our wills? Creating a plan for your will ensures that you have taken into account any tax implications, discussed options for the best way to pass on your stuff, thought about who would be the best executor, and considered your specific situation. 700 Club Canada has partnered with Advisors with Purpose to help you create a personal estate plan. Their services are free, confidential, and no one will sell you anything. Contact Advisors with Purpose today at plan@advisorswithpurpose.ca.
Bernie and Diane Lero have always enjoyed having a large family. After 4 out of their 5 boys were grown and out of the house, they decided it was time to add a daughter to the family. This time, by adoption. The Leros attended an adoption event where more than 100 available children met prospective parents. Though Diane was surrounded by dozens of healthy children, she was drawn to the grainy black and white photo of a girl who was unable to attend that day.
When I saw Danielle's picture that day at the event on the bulletin board, I just felt drawn to her. Something about her face and her expression.
Mostly all they would tell us is, you don't want her. And it's like, well, you know, we really want to know more. And finally, one of the ladies told my wife, there's something wrong with her. She's not up to par.
Despite the dire warning, the Leros followed up with the agency to find out more about the child. Caseworkers painted a horrific picture of child abuse. Detective Mark Holste was one of the first to discover the abuse.
In 2007, my new partner and I were dispatched to this location because alleged neglect of a female child was all we had. When we got here that particular day, the investigator had already been inside the house without us, and she was already back out. She was leaning against her car, crying, just sobbing. When I approached her, I talked to her. I said, what's the problem? Are you okay? Are you hurt? Did they assault you? She said, no, it's just the worst case of neglect I've ever seen. That time, my partner had gotten sick, and he had to go outside because of the cockroaches, the animal feces, because the cats and dogs are everywhere. The cockroaches were just literally tens of thousands of them crunching under your feet as you walked. The odor of the house was just very, very pungent and very overpowering.
Detective Holste entered a small room in the back of the house, no bigger than a walk-in closet.
There was no bed in the room. There was a box spring mattress on the floor. The mattress had been soiled many, many times. There was a pile of diapers in the corner that had just been stacked there over and over again. There was insect activity on the diapers, flies, gnats. In the corner, on the edge of the mattress, there was a child, which was Danielle Crockett.
When Detective Holste found Danielle, she was 7 years old and weighed 46 pounds. She couldn't talk, respond to others, or eat solid food. Danielle was a true feral child.
You know, the best we could determine, she'd never been outside the house based on what the neighbors told us. And the only reason we knew anything was the neighbors, so they saw her looking out in the broken window one day. I've been in law enforcement for 27 years now, and this is by far, bar none, the worst case of child neglect I've ever come across in my career.
Danielle's biological mother lost her parental rights immediately, and Danielle was sent to a hospital for urgent care.
It made me angry. It just made me cry just to read how she had been kept and the conditions which she had been found in. It's just surprising that she actually lived through what all she'd been through, that she actually was able to hold on and make it until she was removed.
Doctors and therapists diagnosed Danielle with environmental autism and informed the Leros that her basic care needs would be overwhelming.
When we read the psychiatric reports on Danielle, it was very discouraging. She was functioning between 0 and 6 months on pretty much all the levels of development other than she was able to walk. She grew up so isolated from the world. It's left a lifelong impact on her ability to relate to others.
But Bernie and Diane knew Danielle was still supposed to be a part of their family. As they moved through the adoption process, Danielle lived in a group home. She attended school for the first time and was placed in special education classes. This is where Bernie and Diane met her.
I think our confidence was built during the first few visits that we had at Danielle's school, where every time we came, she would do something new that she hadn't done before. The very first visit, she made real good eye contact with Bernie and actually reached out for him. It was just greatly encouraging. It's like, yes, there is a little person in there and she is reachable, and it's not gonna be easy, that's for sure, but we can make some progress here.
And Bernie's resolve was solidified after a dream.
You know, I felt the Lord kind of handed her to me, and he says, "This is mine to give to you." You know, and he just handed her off to me, and he says, "Take care of her."
On October 29, 2007, the former feral child became Danielle Leroux, and for the first time in her life, she had a loving family. But the Leroux still had many challenges ahead.
When we first got Danielle, we didn't even know if we'd be able to potty train her, if she would ever use the bathroom. We didn't know if she'd ever eat with a fork and a spoon. You start realizing, okay, I don't know how far this child will go. I don't know what goals to set, but obviously they can progress from where they're at.
You know, you just love this child the way she is. She's my kid, and that's it. Sometimes, I mean, it's a 24/7 thing, but there's always rewards.
Today, Danielle lives on a lively Tennessee farm with her parents and has made stunning progress.
She uses the bathroom, she swims, she goes horseback riding. She does a lot of self-care tasks independently. Even though they seem like small, minuscule accomplishments, they really are huge to her because she's gone already way beyond the expectations that any of the specialists had for her at the time that she was found.
Though Danielle has yet to talk, she has made remarkable strides in learning to communicate non-verbally.
She is working on a picture exchange system where she gives me a picture and I give her the object. And she also is working on money, identifying coins. She works on colors and sorting and, of course, life skills in general. She wants someone to challenge her. She wants to be taught. She wants to learn.
I think a lot of it has to come from God, and she feels safe. She feels secure. She's arrived at the place where she was meant to be.
Danielle's victorious spirit has made waves all over the world. Her story was covered in a Pulitzer Prize-winning article from the St. Petersburg Times in 2008. When the story ran, the website of her former adoption agency was flooded as thousands of people logged on to consider adoption. Diane and Bernie have also written a book entitled Danny's Story.
I think the most beautiful thing about adoption is the child is getting a second chance at life. There are so many children out there that need foster homes and need adoptive homes. There are so many rewarding things in watching a child that's just come to you broken and discouraged. Just watching them flourish and grow and blossom. There's a huge reward and a huge joy there.
Wow, I don't know about you, but I found that story difficult to watch. As beautiful as it is, it's so heartbreaking, the neglect that Danielle suffered, but it is truly amazing to see what a loving, safe home has done for her. And Danielle's story of rescue actually reminds me of our own story of rescue. The Bible tells us that every one of us has suffered a great loss and has been impacted by sin that has separated us from God. So what did God do? He comes to rescue us. He becomes a human like us, Jesus himself. And his invitation is for us to be adopted into his family where we can be loved and we can be safe. This is spiritual adoption. It restores actually everything to us. Romans 8 tells us that we become Jesus's brothers and sisters, and that everything that's available to Jesus is now available to us. Isn't that amazing? Romans 8:29 and 32. Hear it out of the Passion Translation. I love this. For he knew all about us before we were born, and he destined us from the beginning to share the likeness of his Son. This means the Son is the oldest among a vast family of brothers and sisters who will become just like him. Having determined our destiny ahead of time, he called us to himself and transferred his perfect righteousness to everyone he called. And those who possess his perfect righteousness, he co-glorified with his Son. Now, there's just so much there, but I hope that you caught the heart of it. That when you're adopted into God's family, you're loved as much as Jesus is loved. That all that's available to Jesus is you. That whatever God, Father, shares with Jesus, he shares with you. This is your true identity in Christ. We have a resource, Your Identity in Christ. It's free. Give us a call, 1-855-759-0700. We'll be right back.
I keep my eyes always on the Lord. With him at my right hand, I will not be shaken.
The new year is a great opportunity to form new habits. And a great habit I've learned in my life is generosity. So I want to invite you to become a 700 Club Canada monthly partner today for just $20 a month or more. And if you do that today, you'll receive this CD entitled The Lord is My Shepherd, along with a copy of our monthly newsletter entitled Frontlines. It's full of articles and information that will encourage and inspire and help you along the way. So why not start the new year off by practicing generosity, by considering becoming a partner with us today? Thank you in advance. Call us at 1-855-759-0700 to become a partner today.
It's the most memorized passage in the Psalms.
The psalm that I learned as a child in Sunday school.
The Lord is my shepherd.
Now, what happens when we fully embrace the Lord is my shepherd?
The Christian Broadcasting Network presents a profound new teaching by Gordon Robertson. The Lord is my shepherd, a Psalm of David.
This is a guide for every pilgrim, every Christian as you go through life.
In this brand new teaching, you'll discover the path to true provision, when the most troubling situations can work for good, the key to claiming victory over your battles. Plus, learn how to hear God's voice and experience his presence.
It's a psalm of how you overcome struggles.
Get this encouraging new teaching, The Lord is my shepherd, a Psalm of David. Available now.
Connect with us on social media to watch shows anytime and to access additional content.
Well, we want to welcome back Shaunna Leinster to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm always excited to be here.
You know, we always love having you here because we love food, right, Bill?
We get to eat.
I know.
And we have lots of fun, too.
Right?
That's true.
So we've been talking today about having a healthy start or a good, fresh start to the year.
Yes.
So a healthy start, I think, starts with breakfast, right?
Absolutely. What better way to start the whole year, the whole day, everything with a healthy breakfast, right?
So the next 4 days, just to let you know, keep tracking with us because Shaunna's going to walk us through a one-day meal plan. So you're going to get a plan from breakfast, snacks, lunch, dinner. So starting with breakfast, why is it so important?
Well, breakfast, it fuels your whole day. If you skip your breakfast, you're setting your day for failure, essentially.
Wow.
Because breakfast is energy, food is energy, right? And you want to start it with something healthy, no sugar. You want protein, you want fiber. That's going to keep you satiated throughout the day and less chance of snacking on those sugary snacks that we can tend to do.
Okay.
I agree. Feed your body, mind, and soul. So you should pray while you eat.
Exactly.
They can do that too. All right, so show us our first healthy breakfast option.
Yes, so the two that I brought, you prepare them overnight. Or sorry, you prepare them the night before.
Okay.
Oh, you don't have to stay up all night preparing.
Don't stay up all night. So the first one is an overnight breakfast parfait. I use grass-fed yogurt, frozen blueberries. You put it on top of the yogurt in the mason jar here. And as it melts, it becomes like a blueberry compote.
Which
in the
looks
yogurt.
amazing. So what if I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning? Is it like the middle of the night snack
Well,
then?
it
Is
could be
that-
dessert.
Okay,
It could be dessert,
okay.
but save it for the morning because this is going to fuel your body for the
Okay.
day. And I made a homemade granola. I use oats, walnuts, almonds, cinnamon, nutmeg.
And I noticed you
cloves.
roasted it.
I roasted it.
That's the best.
And it smells amazing. So
Can I smell it?
absolutely. You get to try it too.
That is amazing.
Oh, that is
Yes.
amazing.
So in the morning, just shake a little bit in on top. And what I like about preparing this in a mason jar is you can take it with you.
I was just gonna say the same thing. This would be great for you if you're in a hurry. You have no excuse because the night before you prep it, you just
Exactly.
pour that in,
No
go to work.
excuse to miss breakfast ever
Yeah,
again.
I love, and it looks delicious.
Yes. So
Do I
you
get
mix that up. I'm
Okay.
gonna serve you some. Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I mean,
Just gonna
that's
pour it right in
amazing. The
there.
frozen fruit, that'd be so convenient.
Yes.
Right? And then you just put it on top, and does it kind of soak in its flavor?
It soaks it all in, so it naturally sweetens the yogurt.
Oh.
So instead of buying
Right.
sugary yogurt, because when you buy the one at the grocery store that has the fruit in it, it tends to have added sugar. I don't know why they do that. This way it's naturally sweet.
And it's fresh fruit too.
And it's fresh fruit, exactly.
Oh, yum. Okay, taste test, Bill. Gotta let him chew for a minute here, but good, eh?
Amazing.
I know.
Breakfast could be dessert, could be snack.
I love the almonds in there. Wow,
Yeah.
that is really, really good.
Thank you.
So the
I'm
nuts
glad.
would be the fiber and the protein.
And the protein. And then the yogurt, if you choose a grass-fed, I typically tend to use Greek yogurt.
Okay.
There's higher protein in there. So that's going to keep you fuller longer. And that's what you want in a good breakfast.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, number two.
Number two, again, a prepare the night before option. These are overnight oats. So just put some thick cut oats in a mason jar, some almond milk or your milk of choice. And I did this dairy-free for you, Lori, of course.
I do prefer dairy-free.
Yes, and so this one, we're doing an apple pie version, which is my absolute favorite
Wow.
dessert. So you can chop your apple. And you can even chop the apple the night before as well. Just squeeze a little bit of lemon juice on it, put it in a container, and that way it won't go brown.
Right.
Okay, so what happens when you prepare this the night before? The oats typically tend to cook in the almond milk, so they soften. Okay, we're gonna have my nutmeg here.
What
and
is
my
that
fancy. This
thing?
is a microplane. This is my
A
favorite
microplane.
kitchen gadget.
Looks dangerous.
Not a weapon. So, putting the nutmeg in there. Whoops, I have my cinnamon. There's my cinnamon.
Love it.
So you can
Is that going to taste like
smell
apple
the
pie?
apple pie. Yeah, exactly.
It smells.
And
it
some
smells-
raisins.
Love the raisins.
And that is
Wow, that's
breakfast.
amazing.
Again,
In
you
a
could,
jar,
you could
and you
take
can take it with you.
That is brilliant.
What's
this-
the ratio of oatmeals to milk?
Typically 1-to-1.
Okay.
So like half a cup of oats, half a cup of almond milk, a little bit of maple syrup as well, a little bit of pure vanilla extract.
Oh my goodness.
And the longer it sits is the more all the flavors melt together.
So easy, so tasty.
So simple. Yeah.
Amazing.
And
And it's going to keep
healthy.
you full longer throughout the day, so you're not going to snack on that chocolate bar at
So
10:30 in the morning.
Can I still if
Well,
I
I
want
mean-
to? Okay.
If you want to get these recipes, go to 700club.ca/recipes. Thank you, Shaunna. Come back tomorrow. We're working on snacks.
Have a great day.
Yummy.
To contact us, visit 700club.ca.